Welcome to the class of Social Science. Today we are going to discuss for the history subject for class 8, the chapter 2, part 1. The name of the chapter is From Trade to Territory. The company establishes power. I repeat the name, from trade to territory. The company establishes power. So, stepping in this chapter, we are going to discuss about the arrival of the trading company, trade rivalry and Carnatic War. Now, before starting for the arrival of the trading company, let me tell you that which trading company I am going to talk you about. You all know that India was being a slaver. It was a slaving country of which company? The East India Company. East India Company, which were from Britain under the rule of Queen Elizabeth. Now here what actually happened? This East India Company came to India as a trading company. Now here, slowly and steadily, after looking to the weak points of Indian rulers, they started ruling this country because they were having the forces, they were having so many good technology and the mythology, good education also. So for all these things made them and the most important thing, a very sharp and a cunning mind. So with this, they started ruling this country, and we are going to discuss about the East India Company. How did they establish themselves? How did the other countries also who came to India for trading purposes became rivalry to each other, especially about French and Anglo means the East Indian companies, and how did the Carnatic War held inside the country. Now, you all know that India in the previous era was said to be a golden bird. Why it is said to be a golden bird? You know, students, India was actually the most rich country in this whole world. It was said to be a very richest country. Why? Because of so many good qualities the India had at that duration. Some spices, gold, pearl, silk, they were such a good quantity, it was being produced inside India, that India was actually giving others in comparison to taking. Now you know what, one thing I want to tell you, why we used to get gold in huge quantity, why we used to find gold especially in the southern regions. Because the reason is, in the southern region, was said to be the coast, it is a coastal area. And in previous generations, the people used to come inside the country only on the basis of the ships, or the trading route was done from the ships from the coastal area itself. So as other countries were coming for the trading purposes, so what they were doing? They were taking the spices, gold, silk and pearls from India, and they were in exchange of this, they were giving their gold coins, silver coins and several other of the monetary things. Now here, what happened, that usually the wealth which was being collected, it was being collected on the coastal areas, and that's the reason we are able to see the gold in a huge quantity within the coastal area itself in comparison to rest of India part. Now here, as you all know, I told you all that India was very famous for its spices, gold, pearls and silk. Now here, Vasco da Gama, who came to India in the 15th century, and over here, not only the Vasco da Gama, he actually came with his followers, with his troop he was just going for invading, just went for a traveling that he want to invade the countries, the sea routes. So here, while traveling, he came to India. Now after Vasco da Gama, as Vasco da Gama founded the sea route to coming to India, after that the Dutch, French and the English traders, they all started coming to India, followed by the Portuguese also to India. Now Vasco da Gama was actually from the Portuguese. Okay, he was a Portuguese person. Okay, here when he came to India, behind him other people of the other countries also started invading India. They also started coming for trading with India, and to get the spices and so many luxury things from India for their own country. Actually, that time they were doing the business. Now, but after, as the East India Company came here inside India for the trading purpose, and they got and realized that what sort of weak rulers Indians are having. They are busy in with their own rivalry things. Okay, one each other want to conquer another one. Okay, that's King A and King B. The King A and B are not bothered about their kingship, about their kingdom. They are actually bothered about to overrule each other. So they took the advantage of this thing and they started ruling. Okay, the British people defeated rest other foreign countries who came to India for invading for trading purposes, and they finally brought up their English East India Company inside India in 1600. Now let me tell you something about Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama was actually, he was said to be a Somra family, the first Portuguese who encountered with India. Encounter over here means who came to India. Okay, and on the 20th May 1498, when Vasco da Gama reached Calicut, which is said to be at present Kolkata, okay, on the Malabar coast, anchored off the coast of Calicut, the Portuguese invaded native fishermen on the boat and immediately brought some Indian items. Okay, now over here what happened when Portuguese invited the native fishermen, okay, over there, the normal fishermen who were being gathered here in the nearby the coastal area. Vasco da Gama invited all those fishermen to meet, okay, and over there he brought up some Indian items. Okay, the fishermen did not came at that duration. What has been said that never go to any other place or to meet a new person with the empty hand. So from here the people just gave some gifts to Vasco da Gama, and Vasco da Gama also gave some exchange gifts to them. Now here one of the Portuguese accompanied the fishermen to the port and met with the Tansian Muslim. Now Tansian Muslim, actually it was from the Mughal ruler, the Mughal people who were already invading India, who were already ruling the India at that time. On the advice of this man, Gama sent a couple of his men to Panay, okay, Punani, to meet the ruler of Calicut. Now here what happens, this advice of Vasco da Gama, after just listening to the person, the native people over there, they just, with some people, some soldiers, some men, he went to Punani and Punani over there to meet the ruler of Calicut. Okay, and after meeting the ruler of Calicut, they finally tried to started trading work inside the India. Now, after the arrival of Vasco da Gama, behind him several other countries too also started invading India. They also tried to establish trade relationship with India, like Dutch, French and English people, the British people, the East India Company. Now here the East India Company was the name of several historical European companies chartered with Asia. Okay, East India Company was not only a particular company, and not from Britain itself, but several other countries of the it was a one country which has been having some sort of agreements. Okay, they are having some bonds, some alliances, okay, with other countries of the Asia too, and they were more interested in India only. And why India? Because India was said to be a very wealthy country which is having a huge quantity of spices, gold. Now here what happens, how did these countries came to India, and with duration we are going to discuss here. British East India Company founded in 1600, and after East India Company, the Danish East India Company came over here, which was been founded in 1660. Dutch East India Company came to India, founded in 1602. French East India Company came founded in 1664. Swedish East India Company founded in 1731 and Portuguese East India Company founded in 1628. These all countries came to India who were specially invading India for the trading purposes by different names. Now here British East India Company finally overgone for all these countries and make it supremacy inside India. So here the most dominating country came in front of us was British East India Company. I repeat, British East India Company, which was founded in 1600. Now, with the continuation of the same topic of arrival in India, actually when Vasco da Gama came over there in India in 1498, behind him, as I've told, several other countries also started invading India, especially for getting spices from here. Now, at the end of 1600, Queen Elizabeth of England allowed a large body of merchants from a trading company to trade with the East Indies, India and Southeast Asia, which were later came to be known as East India Company. Now in 1617, Sir Thomas Roe approached the Mughal Emperor Jahangir and sought his permission to build a factory at Surat in 2 years. This permission was being granted. Now actually students, what happened? See, Queen Elizabeth just gave the permission to a trading company to come together and to go and get for your trading work, trading business with the Southeast Asia countries, especially India, okay, and East Asia. Now here, why it is said to be the East India Company? Because East, firstly, they were being told to trade with the East Indies, India and Southeast Asia. So usually the countries which are coming, they were all from the eastern side. So this is company said to be the East. Now India, why? Because here in this India only they conquered and traveled for a longer duration of time. So they said to be, they kept the name India, and company because it was a trading purpose. It was they came for the business purposes. So they kept the name East India Company. Now here when they came, Sir Thomas Roe just approached to the last Mughal ruler of Mughal Empire, Emperor Jahangir. Okay, now here Jahangir was not that Jahangir which you are thinking about. No, not that Jahangir. Actually, Emperor Jahangir was a ruler who was a mini ruler, because a short ruler, very short duration. He was being the ruler of the Mughal Empire. Now here he was being set and he asked a permission for setting up a factory, and they finally said that okay, you are being allowed to set up a factory over here. And they started their factory, they established their factory and they started their work procedure. They were also making something for the Indians, and exchange of that they were taking the spices from India to their own countries, England. Now let me tell you some short introduction about Job Charnock. Now who was Job Charnock? Job Charnock was an agent of the British East India Company who's actually been told, or who actually been establishing the East India Company, the factory over here nearby the coastal area. Okay, he established a trading fort nearby named Fort William. Okay, in 1612, British East India established a trading post in Gujarat too. Now, Job Charnock actually came for establishing country. He actually made East India Company, tried to make the first step of East India Company established in India. Now here, what actually he did? He was a good, but whatever the policies he made was getting little bit bad one. Okay, now in this case what happens that finally the company people himself made him as a Sena. Okay, and over there he was being terminated from his job also, and he was being said to leave this country. Now here what actually Job Charnock did. Job Charnock just married to a widower of Indian widower who was having around 7 to 8 kids too. Now why, as she was just made, she was not performing the tribe of the ritual of Sati Pratha. So over there Job Charnock married that lady and also fathered those children. So he was in a humanity aspect, he was a very good person in this scenario, but the policies that he made over there to establish East India Company inside the country against or going beyond the rules and regulations made by Queen Elizabeth for the trading company, he was being sued, he was being punished for this illegal work, whatever he done inside the country. Now, as I told you all that Job Charnock just helped to establish East India Company inside India. Job Charnock was also said to be among the founder of Calcutta. But in 2003, it was being said by the High Court of Calcutta that no, there is no sign we found that the Calcutta or this Kolkata is being established by Job Charnock. Now after that Job Charnock, one more person came to India, and that was said to be Sir Thomas Rio. Now Sir Thomas Rio was actually a great inventor, okay, who made and who finally established the East India Company inside India. Now over here what actually did, he took the permission from Jahangir and he started setting up the factories here in India on the coastal area nearby the Ahmedabad, Bhuj and Agra. Now, in 1640, East India Company established an outpost at Madras. Outpost over here means that a factory or a company which were actually taking the things from India and making it trading to the of their own countries. Okay. For example, like I said that he had just opened a shop nearby the coastal area where he was taking the equipment from all the rest part of the India, and that he was being making in a collective form in that shop. Now over there, whatever the trading companies which are coming from abroad, especially for the East Indian companies, he was providing all these things to those people. Now in 1661, the company obtained Bombay from Charles Chow and converted it to be the furnishing center of trade by 1668. And students, you will be glad to know that still today the Bombay is said to be the #1 trading company area. Why? The trade, the business is so much over there. The reason just behind it is firstly the coastal area, and the second thing, after taking the Bombay from Charles Chow, he actually made it that area to be very, very highly flourished just because of the coastal area. Okay, and it also became the major center of the trade. Now in 1633, in the Mahanadi Delta of Harinapur at Basla in Odisha, factories were also being set up. So Thomas Rio not only set up the factories in Ahmedabad, Bhuj or Agra, but he also established many companies or many trading factories in the outpost of Madras and also in the Bombay, and including with the Basra, the Mahanadi Delta of Hirarpur. Now Haryarpur over here, Hirarpur, these are the two names which has been taken for one place. Some people used to take the pronunciation as Hirarpur and some people take it at Haryarpur. I repeat, Haryarpur or Hirarpur. Now at the Basra in Odisha. Now over there, as these companies were set up, these factories were set up, so what it made? It made to go for the trading purpose in a very frequent manner. Okay, now a systematic form was being developed over there. As you can take an example, if I am not having any shop, how will be I able to do or trade or business for any other work? Okay, Now, if I am having any shop, particular shop at one particular place, I will be easily able to deal with the customers. I will be easily able to sell my products. Okay, and the people will also come to me. Now, same like here, Sir Thomas Rao established factories around India to establish East India Company inside India itself. Okay, now let's have a very quick good thing which will be very interesting for you all. What happens when you are also an intelligent student and to some extent one more student who is also intelligent and he enters your class. Okay, he takes admission in your own class, and over there when the exams are going on or so many competitions are going on, so the biggest competitor of yours will be that intelligent student too, as he is totally equal to you also. Now here what will happen? Obviously a rivalry feeling will occur. Okay, you will not be any good friends, but you will be a rivalry, opposite to each other. You will be just like the enemies who are going to dominate each other as soon as possible. Now same here what happened in India. When after the Portuguese Vasco da Gama went over from here, when East India Company came, before East India Company also several other countries came to India for invading, for doing the trading purpose. Now over here the French company came to be among the important companies. Now apart from the East India Company, the French company was the same sort of East India Company. They also came for the trading purpose, but after visualizing all the work procedure of the rulers of India, so they also decided that yes, we also want to conquer this India. Now here, as one party was already been planning to invade India, to conquer India, to take out the trading purpose, all the trading things, the trading equipment, all the benefits of the trading companies inside India, for them a new ruler came, a new factory came, a new people company came over there in India. Obviously rivalry will be there, obviously fights will be there, obviously the people will not like each other. Why these people are being given more priority than others? Same it happened with the French and the Anglo, the English people. So trade rivalry over here we are going to discuss about two companies, the two countries, that was the Britain, the East India Company, and the second one was the French. The French East India Company came as a trade rivalry in India. Now let me give you some introduction about this tribal rivalry. Actually how it began over here. It actually began with the southern, in the previous generation, as Thomas Rio also established some countries over here, some factories over here, and apart from the Vasco da Gama invaded over here for the trading purposes and all. So after this, slowly and steadily, the companies which are being established over there for the trading purposes, they became so favorable, and they are just proving themselves to be the good one. But slowly and steadily, it all got disappeared from the country. Okay, the ruling part, the ruling authority, which was the Mughal Empire, became very weak, especially after the death of Aurangzeb and Nizamul Mulk as Jahan, okay, in 1748. Now after the death, there are so many weak rulers came in the Mughal Empire, which was being taken advantages of by the East Indian companies and other foreign companies too, because they found that the rulers are too weak. They are unable to take their own decision. They are only just having to live, or they wanted to live a lavish life. They are not concerned with the I can say they're not with the kingdom, with the people of the kingdom, okay. And especially after this some duration, as they found that Mughal rulers are really very weak, they are busy on fighting with each other. They want to conquer each other, because small parts of Mughal Empire got distributed. Okay, it got totally distributed among the Mughal rulers. Now here, what happened after that, the Marathas also, they also regularly invaded Hyderabad. Now after that, they also started collecting chauth. Chauth was a sort of a tax by the kings of the southern region of the Maratha Empire. Now, the next one was the absence of the central bank gave the foreigners an opportunity to expand their political influence and control over the affairs of South Indian states. Now, just let me explain this point by an example. In your house, if we are living very happily, okay, the family members are living very happily, and suddenly a person came from outside, and that person is a person who just notified that you all, the family members, are living peacefully, but as one other major family member got out of this family, he found or she found that the rest other people are busy in fighting with each other. They are just bothered about their ego, their esteem, their self-respect. They are not bothered about living peacefully or happily within the country. So what that person will do? That person will do the backbiting. The backbiting means over there that saying something to another person and again same words to the other person also. For example, I can say what East India Company did. That there were two rulers, ruler A and B. So they went to the ruler A and said that, sir, your highness, you are very good, you are very supremacy, you are having extreme power, you are so intelligent, but the king B, who is your neighbor kingdom, they are just opposite of you. And they really think that you are nothing. You are just disgusting person. So over there what will happen? King A will obviously think that King B is my rivalry and they will have the conflicts. And why they will have the conflicts over here? Because they know that though the kings are against each other now, so they take the advantage of this. Same like here it happens with the foreign companies also. They took the advantage of the weak section of the kings of India and they finally started establishing themselves over here. Next is, for nearly 20 years, from 1744 to 1763, the French and the English were to wage a bitter war for control over the trade, wealth and territory of India. Now, from 1744 to 1763, French and the English, they will have a bitter wage. Okay, bitter war. Bitter war means over here, very bad wars. Okay, as I told you, in one class, two intelligent students, one was already there, another one also came. And over there, what will happen? Obviously, the competition will happen over there. And as the competition will happen, what will happen again? A rivalry feeling will come. Okay, they will be against to each other. And over there, they will try to dominate each other. Okay, to overcome each other. Showing that yes, we are better than this one. Okay, as A will prove that I am better than B and B will prove I am better than A. Now same like here, for 20 years this trade rivalry continued. Okay, now here the French people were proving themselves to be the more dominated and a very good one in comparison to the East India Company, and the same time the East India Company was also proving themselves, the British East India Company was also proving themselves to be the better and to be the more empowered from the French company. Now, next what happened? The French East India Company was founded in 1664. It made rapid progress and it was recognized in 1720s and soon began to catch up with the English company. Now here, French East India Company was actually being established or founded in 1664. Now after this, they quickly made a rapid progress. Okay, whatever the policies they make, the way of technique of doing the work, the skills they utilized was so good that they quickly conquered that place. Okay, their positions I can say, and it was being recognized as a very good company in 1720s. Now after that, they quickly came in a competition level of English company, and French company became a rivalry to the English company. Continuing with this, the French rivalry or the trade rivalry option, it was formally established at Chandranagar near Calcutta and Pondicherry on the east coast. Which country? French companies. The French company has some other factories at several ports of East and West Coast also. It has also acquired control over the islands of Mauritius and Reunion of the Indian Ocean. Now, French East India Company was also heavily dependent on the French government, which helped it by giving it treasury grants, subsidies and loan, etc. Now here, the French East India Company was actually being dependent on the French government, okay? The whatever they require, the facility or any sort of purpose or instead of need, they have been totally been fulfilled by the French government because they were having a very good support from them. The French East India Company was largely controlled by the government, which appointed its directors after 1723. Now, in this aspect, the government not left the companies like this. Over there, they appointed their own representatives. Over there, they appointed their own directors who really came to India and just took under the control work of the French companies. So the French company was actually, you can say, it came to a trading purpose. It was established for the trading purpose. The people, the company members, they were trying to conquer India. Now over there, what happened that as the government was taking in concern for all the work, it means whatever is going on is being taken under the concern of the government, so they were not able to reutilize those things as East India Company did. Now in the British East India Company, what happened? That British East India Company came to India for trading purpose, but Queen Elizabeth didn't took care or didn't govern the functions of the company so well. Okay, she left it and gave them the freedom to trade. Finally, she took away all the powers of that company, but still after a very long time. Now here what happened? The French state of the time was autocratic. Autocratic over here means where the people has to follow the rules and regulations made by the king. You can say aristocracy, yes. Okay, semi-feudal and unpopular and sniffed from corruption, inefficiency and stability. Now they were semi-feudal. Semi-feudal means two types of government. Federal types of government are two types of central government, one is state government. They were having a semi. That there were some state governments also, but apart from it, the central government was there, and there was a high clashes between those two types of government, and it was totally unpopular. The people over there were not satisfied, so they do not wanted that sort of government over there inside their countries. So due to all these things, what happens? Corruption increases, inefficiency also increased, and also the instability of the government also increased, because they were continuously fighting with each other to get the dominating them each other too. Now continuing with this, instead of being forward looking with the trading companies, they also came for the state control, okay, controlled by such a state that could not be so injurious to the interests of the company. So they wanted to control any particular type of state where they can actually go for the good empowerment to increase their empires. Now in 1742, a war broke between Europe, between France and England. And now why all this war was being held? Because first of all, as they became rivalry not only in India, but they also became the rivalry in the American. Okay, now over in America, what happened in the colonies of America, the French also wanted to dominate with each other, and also the the Europeans also wanted to conquer that places. Do you remember the Battle of Waterloo? What happened in the French Revolution? In the French Revolution, Napoleon Bonaparte was trying to overcome and to rule the European countries. Now here, European countries are also fighting with the French people. So this French rivalry or the trade rivalry does not consisting only related to the India. It was actually being started a longer duration back. Okay, after the French Revolution, after the battle started with the Napoleon Bonaparte. Now here, this rivalry was insatisfied, okay, by the knowledge that the Mughal Empire was disintegrating, and so the price of the trade or territory was likely to be much higher than in the past. Now what actually they were doing? They thought that, okay, this any particular coin I'm having, now this coin worth rupees 100. Now I think that this coin only worth rupees 100, but as I am just selling this coin to my rivalry person, so what I did, I made it the price of this coin to be 200. Now here, the rivalry company already knew that the amount of this coin is just rupees 100, but only to capture, to gain more profit, what I did, I made it 200. So do you think that obviously rival company will purchase it? No, the rivalry company will not purchase it. Now there what will happen? Clash will be there. A clash of thinking, a clash fight, a cold fight. Okay, it can be turned as some other fight also, but the same aspect it happened with the French and the East Indian Company. Now the Anglo-French conflict in India lasted for nearly 20 years. For 20 years it was continuous fighting and fighting with each other. East India Company, the British East India Company want to overcome and to rule over the French companies, and the French companies were also doing the same thing. They wanted to overcome or to rule the East Indian Company. Now, after finally of those wars, the result was that East India Company established its supremacy in India. They ended up the French companies, the French ruling authorities. The English company was a failure of two because of its superiority in trade. Okay, yes. Now in this what actually means? East Indian Company, the British East Indian Company, they were more cunning, they were more good business people in comparison to the French companies. Now here they possess a good naval superiority also. Naval security means the trading route which is coming from the seaside. Over there they also conquered some supremacy. Firstly they conquered all the coastal areas. Okay, now here as they conquered the coastal areas, obviously the wealth, the equipments, the ships, the boats, whatever it is done, it was being possessed by the East India Company, the British East India Company, and due to which French East India Company ended up. In 1745, the English Navy captured French ships off from the southeast coast of India and threatened the Pondicherry. Okay, now over there Pondicherry was actually said to be the capital, or it's said to be the center trade for the French people. Now in 1745, the English people, the English East India Company, these people, the Navy, they captured the French ships, okay, and they threatened the Pondicherry that we are going to capture the Pondicherry if you are not being told to leave this country. Okay, and finally the French East India Company set back towards their own country, and all the rivalry, all the things ended up. Now in this we are going to discuss about the most important thing, that is said to be the Carnatic War. Carnatic War, which was the only war done so many years, the war was done among the French and the Anglo people. So it is said to be the Anglo-French War also. What is the another name of Carnatic War? Anglo-French War. Now let me introduce you all to the Carnatic War. In the 18th century, 3 wars were fought between the French and the British people. Okay, and why these fights were for? These fights were for to control over the coastal strip. Okay, at the present day we can say especially the Tamil Nadu, known as the time of that Carnatic. Okay, these wars came to be known as Carnatic Wars. The Carnatic region was under the possession of Nizam of Hyderabad. At that time, Nizam of Hyderabad was ruling authority of Tamil Nadu, or we can say the Carnatic region. Now in that Carnatic region, the people the French people, including the English people, they all both wanted to capture those regions, and this was how the Carnatic Wars actually started. And over here, 3 Carnatic War took place, and after that those three Carnatic wars, finally East India Company took over the place of the French company and captured the Carnatic region by of their own. Okay, and the French people, they were fully and finally defeated by the English people. Now let me introduce you all to the Carnatic War. Okay, now in this Carnatic War is also spelled Carnatic War, where a series of military conflicts in the middle of the 18th century in India. Now here, the conflicts not only involved numerous normally independent rulers and their vassals, but also strugglers for the succession, okay, and the territory. Now what actually for the strugglers for succession, because they found that the Indian rulers were totally indulged with each other, they were fighting with each other, they want to conquer their own places. Now here the East India Company and the French people, they started keeping their own place. Okay, they wanted starting conquering the coastal areas. Now over here, as for one position, two opposition parties are there. What do you think? What will happen? It will happen in a form of a revenge. It will happen in the form of a rival parties. They will be said to be called the rival parties, and as the rival parties will come for one position, obviously a fight will be there. Okay, so in their duration, the French company and the English East India Company, they came in front of each other to conquer the spaces, and they became a rivalry companies to each other. Previously from past, as they were being continuously in rival to each other, but now especially in India and want to conquer the especially the Carnatic region, the Tamil Nadu region, the coastal areas of India, they want to capture, because it was said to be a very important place for getting more wealthier. Now here, they were mainly fought within the territories of the Mughal India, okay, with the assistance of various fragmented thus I can say polities loyal to the great Mongol. Now, what actually they did? They took the advantage of the Mughal rulers. They took the advantage of the weak rulers who really want to become the ruler or who want to remain the ruler for a longer duration of time. So what they did? I'll just give you an example. East India Company went to a Mughal ruler and said, "Sir, I am there to help you out, and I really want to establish a small factory over here. Please do help me out." The Mughal ruler said that, "Okay, fine, you're coming for the training purpose. You go and have you and establish your company." Slowly and steadily, the English people, the East India Company or the French people, they started analyzing the work position of the rulers. Now over there they find that they already interconflicted to each other. They are the internal enemies of each other. So why not we utilize this place, okay? And to expand our business also, and to conquer these places also, as they are so weak in comparison to us, because we are having much quantity of wealth and good army, good equipments for attacking in comparison to these people. Now over here, as they started doing these things, they also started merging themselves with other rulers too. Okay, they are trying to make them mix as their friend. "Sir, I am your best friend. I will help you always throughout your whole of the life. Please be with me." Obviously, what the person will think, "Oh, this person is so good. He wants to become my friend." Okay, actually that duration in those type of eras, usually the Indian rulers and also the Mughal rulers to very much extent, they were usually taking the guests or some other people of other countries as their and you as a Hindi all we used to say as we used to chant a word. We not chant, it's said to be a phrase in the Sanskrit, the shlok, that Aditi Devam Bhava. So same like here, at that duration it was being followed, and this was actually being taken advantage by the French people also and by the English people also. The French company was pushed to the corner. Now during these wars were going on, what happened? These wars, as they started, French people, they were being told to remain to a limited quantity of the place, a limited place for the trading purpose. Slowly and steadily, East India Company starting increasing their trading areas. Now, East India Company dominance eventually led to the control by the British Company over the most of the India, and eventually to the establishment of the British Raj inside the country. Now, after these so many Carnatic wars and so many fights between the French people and the English people, what happened? The finally French people were being defeated, and they were being told, okay, we are giving you this much of area, this is the area. Now in this area, what is happening? In this area, we are giving a very small quantity of area. Now in this small quantity of area, what's happening? In the small quantity of area, the French people were being told to establish themselves to make the trading. Whereas other part of the coastal area, whatever they have been conquered, it has been totally and totally done by the French people. Okay. Now in the 18th century, the coastal Carnatic region was the dependency of Hyderabad. Now here, 3 Carnatic wars were fought between 1746 and 1763. 18th century, the coastal Carnatic region was dependency of Hyderabad, and finally 3 Carnatic wars. How many Carnatic wars we fought between the French and the East India Company, the English people? 3 Carnatic wars were fought in between the time of 1746 and 1763. So 1746 to 1763 is said to be the Carnatic war time period. And how many wars were being fought with the people? 3 Carnatic wars were being fought. Now, continuing with the Carnatic war, one major instigator means the most inspiring person for this Carnatic war, okay, was the Frenchman Joseph Francis Duplessis. Now, Joseph Francis Duplessis. Now, who was he actually? See, students, Duplessis was actually a French Governor General at Pondicherry, okay, which is now being referred as Pondicherry. The new name of the Pondicherry is being converted, and its now new name of the Pondicherry is Pondicherry. Now here, he was a statement of the genius, okay, and imagination. Yes, he was having a high level of the creative skills mind. Under his brilliant leadership, the French retreated and occupied Madras in 1746. After defeated by France, the British appealed the Nawab of Carnatic, in whose territory Madras was situated, to save their settlement from the French. The Nawab sent an army against the French to stop 2 foreign trading companies for fighting from his soil. Now here what actually, what happened? See, Duplessis was a very good ruler. He was a French Governor General in Pondicherry. Now, Pondicherry, which was also he also covered very important places in Madras. Now, those people, the conquered places of Madras, where actually the French occupied those places, East India Company wanted to conquer those places. Now, in this case, study what actually happened. In this study, it happens that English people took the help of the Nawabs, in under whose region these places, the Madras, was coming. So over there they said that you please go and tell these people to limit their powers to leave these places. Now they took up the troops and went to the French people and just told them to abolish or to take away the powers to leave this country, to leave this place, or make your things to be in a limited form, and you have not been told to conquer these regions. Now here what happened, that after coming that 1715 rising to become the French East India Company's governor of 1742, Duplessis said and the French influence in India, who was limited to a few very trading outposts over here, the chief one of being the Pondicherry or the Coromandel coast. Okay, immediately upon his arrival in India, he organized Indian recruiter under the French officers for the first time, and he engaged whatever the policies he made, the warfare, the techniques of fighting with the cavalry countries. It was superb. It was very good, and in a very minute level, I can say that he used to have a high quality of the creative thinking skills, a very sharp mind, who used to conquer very quickly and very awfully and without any more efforts. Okay. However, he was met by equally challenging and determined young officers from the British Army, Robert Clive. Now, in East India, from the East India Company, there was a person, Robert Clive. From the French company, it was who? It was Dupleix. Now, Robert Clive and Dupleix, they all came to be contemporary. They all just became the rivalry to each other. Why? Because they are almost to the same quality what the Dupleix was having. Robert Clive was similar to Dupleix. So Robert Clive over there wanted to dominate the French people by his warfare techniques, by his intelligence skills, by his fighting skills, by his creative mind techniques, the warfare, the policies he was making for the company, same like here Dupleix was also doing the same. The Austrian War of Succession in 1714 and later the War of 1756 automatically led to conflict in India and British rivals during the American War of Independence from 1775 to 83. In 1770s, it has made a great impact on events in India, and finally it had happened that Carnatic War ended, and in that Carnatic War what happened that these Carnatic War ended with the abolishing or with the ending scenario or at the ending empire of the French trading company inside India. Now here one more thing that had happened, that finally the English East Indian Company, they captured or they conquered almost the part of the Indian coastal regions where they actually wanted to establish themselves, and slowly and steadily East India Company took up one more step ahead for ruling this nation. This was actually how the East Indian Company arrived in India and how they conquered India. This was Carnatic War. This was the arrival of the trading companies. Now the countries that came to India, not only the East India Company, the English East India Company, but Dutch, French, Portuguese and several other countries also came to India for trading purpose. And why they came to India for trading purpose? Because India was a land of vast area, it was a lavish area, okay, it was having a good quality of trade business opportunities over here related to the spices, coal, pearls and silk, which every country wanted to take from India, because India was also said to be the one thing that was used to say the golden bird in the previous era, because it was among the richest company of the world. So I hope Carnatic War is totally been clear to you all. What was Carnatic War? What was the policies made by the two rivalry companies who were being dominating or who wanted to dominate India? They were French and the English people, okay. And after that, one more thing that we had learned in this video, and what is that? We learned about Dupleix also. We got information about Sir Thomas Rio, okay, and how did these people made or helped the East India Company, the English East India Company, to establish themselves inside India. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day ahead.